Kidon is Israel's most secretive assassination unit, buried inside Mossad's operations division. Almost nothing about it is public, not even its true size. Entry is limited to intelligence veterans who survive years of surveillance work, weapons training, and psychological screening before being trusted with a kill order. Operatives specialize in silent elimination, close-range shooting, car bombs, poison, disguise, and rapid exfiltration across borders. Their most famous campaign, Operation Wrath of God, hunted down the Black September operatives behind the 1972 Munich massacre, tracking targets across Europe for over a decade. But the campaign also produced the Lillehammer affair, when Kidon operatives shot an innocent Moroccan waiter in Norway after mistaking him for a target, blowing operatives' cover and straining Israel's diplomacy for years. Despite the embarrassment, Kidon remains active today, its operations still classified and its roster still unknown to most of Israeli intelligence itself. The Hashashin were a secretive order of the Nizari Ismaili sect that terrorized the Islamic world for 2 centuries. Based in mountain fortresses like Alamut in Persia, they trained followers in isolation, discipline, and absolute obedience to their leader, the so-called Old Man of the Mountain. Recruits learned languages, disguise, and infiltration so they could live for years inside a target's court before striking. Their signature weapon was the dagger, used in public assassinations meant to spread terror rather than conceal the killer, since dying during the act was treated as an honor. They killed viziers, sultans, and crusader leaders, including Conrad of Montferrat, and their name is the root of the modern word assassin. Their fortresses finally fell in 1256 when the Mongols under Hulagu Khan besieged Alamut, ending the order after Persian and Muslim rulers had failed for generations. The Shinobi, known today as ninja, served feudal Japan's warring clans as spies, saboteurs, and killers when honor-bound samurai combat wouldn't get the job done. Training began in childhood in regions like Iga and Koga, covering poison, explosives, disguise, lockpicking, and how to survive for days without food or shelter while gathering intelligence. Their methods were considered dishonorable by samurai standards, which is exactly why lords hired them for the mission samurai refused. Shinobi infiltrated castles, spread misinformation, and carried out assassinations using blades, blowguns, and improvised tools disguised as farming equipment. Their deadliest reputation came from Iga province, whose shinobi resisted Oda Nobunaga's forces so fiercely that he launched a full invasion just to destroy them in 1581. Peace under the Tokugawa shogunate eventually erased the demand for their trade, and most shinobi families faded into ordinary village life. The Sicarii were a radical splinter of Jewish rebels in Roman-occupied Judea, named for the short curved Sika dagger they hid beneath their cloaks. Rather than open battle, they moved through crowded festival crowds, stabbed collaborators and Roman sympathizers in broad daylight, then vanished into the panic they created. Membership demanded total commitment to rebellion, since capture meant crucifixion. Their killings escalated tension between Rome and Judea in the years before the Great Revolt of 66 AD, and some Sicarii later occupied the fortress of Masada. When Roman legions finally besieged Masada in 73 AD, the defenders reportedly chose mass suicide over capture, turning the group's final stand into one of Jewish history's most haunting legends. Their tactics of public assassination for political terror would echo through insurgencies for 2,000 years. Rome's Speculatores began as army scouts, but evolved under the emperors into secret police and personal enforcers for the Praetorian Guard's darker duties. Chosen for loyalty to the emperor rather than the Senate, they carried out surveillance, interrogation, and executions with no public trial required. Their access to the palace made them uniquely dangerous, since they could kill quietly and blame it on illness, accident, or a rival's scheme. Speculatores are linked to several unpopular officials' deaths and are believed to have carried out palace assassinations that reshaped succession under multiple emperors. But the same closeness to power made them a threat to their own masters, and several emperors purged their ranks the moment loyalty was doubted. As the empire fractured, their function was absorbed into other imperial guard units, and eventually disappeared. The Bostanci were the Ottoman Sultan's palace guard. Gardeners and executioners rolled into one deeply feared institution. Recruited as young boys through the same Devshirme system that filled the Janissary Corps, they served the palace for life under a strict hierarchy. Their head, the Bostanci Bashi, personally carried out death sentences against the empire's highest officials, strangling condemned viziers with a silk cord rather than a blade. Since royal blood or rank required a bloodless execution, they also guarded the harem, rowed the sultan's private boats, and maintained the palace gardens, blending mundane labor with the machinery of state terror. Their proximity to the throne gave them enormous unofficial influence over palace politics for centuries. As Ottoman power modernized in the 19th century, the Bostanci's ceremonial and security roles were absorbed into newer palace guard formations, ending their unique dual identity. Ivan the Terrible's Oprichnina turned political terror into official Russian policy. Formed in 1565, the black-cloaked riders swore personal loyalty to the Tsar alone and were given the right to seize land, torture, and kill anyone Ivan deemed a traitor, with no court oversight. They rode with a dog's head and broom tied to their saddles, symbols meant to show they would sniff out and sweep away disloyalty. Their most notorious act was the massacre of Novgorod in 1570, where thousands of the city's residents were tortured and killed on suspicion of conspiring with Poland-Lithuania, an accusation historians now consider largely fabricated. The terror eventually spiraled out of Ivan's control, and in 1572 he abolished the Oprichnina himself after its abuses destabilized the very state it was meant to protect. Its name became a lasting symbol of unchecked state violence in Russian history. SMERSH was Soviet military counterintelligence during World War II, its name a contraction of the Russian phrase for death to spies. Answering directly to Stalin, it operated behind Red Army lines hunting deserters, German infiltrators, and anyone suspected of disloyalty, with execution often following interrogation within hours. Officers were selected for ideological reliability as much as skill, and entire SMERSH detachments were embedded inside every major Soviet unit to enforce obedience through fear. Their operations extended beyond the front, tracking down Nazi collaborators and hunting high-value targets across liberated Europe after 1944. SMERSH agents are credited with identifying Hitler's remains in Berlin and capturing key figures from the German High Command. But the organization's brutal internal purges also swept up thousands of innocent Soviet soldiers, and Stalin dissolved it in 1946, folding its functions into the KGB's predecessor agencies once its wartime purpose was served. America's Office of Strategic Services built its own quiet kill apparatus during World War II, dropping small Jedburgh teams behind enemy lines to organize resistance fighters, sabotage infrastructure, and eliminate collaborators. Recruits trained in silent killing, demolitions, and parachute infiltration, often operating for months with no support if captured or extraction failed. Missions ranged from blowing up rail lines ahead of D-Day to eliminating Gestapo informants who threatened entire resistance networks. Their most consequential legacy came after the war, when OSS veterans and doctrine formed the backbone of the newly created CIA, carrying covert action tradecraft into the Cold War through units like the Special Activities Division. That division's operators have since been linked to high-risk missions worldwide, from hunting terrorist leaders to running deniable operations no other agency will claim. The OSS itself was dissolved within months of Japan's surrender, but its playbook never stopped being used. East Germany's Stasi built the most thorough surveillance state of the Cold War, and its foreign intelligence arm, the HVA, ran one of history's most effective spy networks under Marcus Wolf, a man Western agencies photographed for over a decade without knowing his face. HVA officers recruited secretaries, diplomats, and NATO staff through patient, sometimes romantic manipulation, planting long-term moles inside West German intelligence and government itself. Their reach was so deep that one mole, Günther Guillaume, became a top aide to West German Chancellor Willy Brandt triggering his resignation in 1974 when the spy was exposed. The HVA combined old-world tradecraft with East Germany's obsessive domestic file-keeping, cross-referencing millions of citizens to recruit informants and neutralize threats before they surfaced. When the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, Wolf's officers reportedly spent days shredding decades of files before agents could seize them. The HVA's collapse didn't erase its legacy. Since former officers and tradecraft resurfaced across post-Soviet intelligence services for years afterward, a final reminder that nothing designed to kill or deceive quietly ever fully disappears once it enters the state's hands. What separates all 10 of these units isn't the blade, the poison, or the file cabinet. It's the willingness to erase themselves for a cause bigger than their own name. Every empire that ever built one of these units eventually lost control of it, turned it inward, or watched it outlive the regime it was built to protect. That's the part history keeps repeating. Which one of these surprised you the most? Let me know down in the comments.